So, hi everybody. This is Talking Digital Industries, the podcast for technologies and trends that drive sustainable digital enterprises. I'm your host, Chris Brow. Great that you could join us. Now, in today's episode, we're going to showcase a Siemens factory in Germany, the Electronics Factory Erlangen. And it's more sustainable than ever, more competitive, and is also a model for other factories. So it's really worthwhile to stick with us to see what has been achieved with digitalization. And for this discussion, I would like to welcome our three guests today, starting off with the Department Head of Global Manufacturing Motion Control at Siemens, Stefan Krug. Hello, Stefan.
Hello.
Great to have you with us. Also joining us is the technology evangelist and the founder of consulting company A Bit of This and That, Kevin O'Donovan. Kevin, how are you doing?
Hey, Chris. Hi, folks. Good to join you.
Nice. All right. Also joining us is the expert for the sustainable digital enterprise at Siemens, Magnus Edholm. Magnus, how are you feeling?
I'm all right, Chris. How are you doing?
Very, very well. Thank you very much. Very happy to have you all with us. We have a lot to cover today. So let's just dive right in, shall we, gentlemen? So first of all, maybe we can start off by helping our audience understand what a sustainable digital enterprise actually is.
At Siemens, we've been driving the sustainable digital enterprise for quite some time. And to sum it up really, really quick, it's essentially that we are taking on a holistic approach, combining the real and the digital world. We're looking at the product lifecycle and production lifecycle and make sure they are interacting with each other across the entire lifecycle. That enables a true sustainable digital enterprise to take advantage of the data that is all around us, use the data, analyze the data in order to speed up the production processes and improve the product.
Well, maybe may I have just one question? What current challenges can I better address with a factory that meets the description of a sustainable digital enterprise? Maybe Kevin can jump in on this one.
So, Chris, if you look at today's world, I suppose business resiliency is kind of the key driver out there. And what I mean by that is that how do I keep the lights going? How do I stay profitable? And if you look at the pace of change, not just in technology, but in world events and supply chain shocks and customers changing their mind or coming, I want something different. It's all about being able to respond with as little risk as possible. And to be quite honest, digitalization is the only way that you can be able to tie all the things together. As Magnus said, right? It's from how you design it, how you run it, real-time data coming back. Data is the key. It's that ability to be able to react in almost real time. That's what the sustainable digital enterprise is all about, in my opinion.
Interesting. And I suppose this is exactly what the Electronics Factory in Erlangen resembles, a factory that is a real sustainable digital enterprise. Maybe, Stefan, you could tell us a bit about this factory. Give us your best elevator pitch, maybe.
We are producing for our motion control business within Siemens. We produce drives, frequency converters, controls. So basically the power electronics that drive the electronic motors for a lot of business applications. Mm-hmm. And this we do since decades. But lately, as Kevin mentioned, there are a lot of influences, external influences, where we need to be faster, we need to be more productive in order to stay compatible. And this is exactly what we have achieved in our electronics factory in Erlangen by using digital twins, artificial intelligence, IT/OT conversion, and of course, what has been already mentioned, a lot of data to be able to react fast, to gain productivity as much as we can out of our processes.
Magnus, you must be proud of this factory.
I am, very much so. I've been working with this for 25 years with digitalization. And the stuff that you can see in Erlangen, in the exhibition center, and then in the factory is, to me, true hands-on digitalization. And we are using our own software solutions. We are using our own automation solutions in the factory. And this means also that the solutions are proven. We have the same challenge as many companies out there. So that is, to me, just a fantastic thing that we used to say we drink our own champagne. And this is exactly what we're doing in Erlangen.
I think it's fascinating to think about how long this factory has been around, too. I mean, this has been around way before we even started talking about digitalization. And now it basically acts as a role model factory for digitalization within Siemens. So maybe, Stefan, I don't know, could you take us on a journey here, how that all came about?
Yeah, sure. So basically the factory is over 50 years old and has undergone a lot of transformations already in terms of products and all these kind of things. So, and already over 20, almost 25 years ago, we started also with a lean journey, optimized our process in a very, very structured way. But already since over more than a decade, we are striving for digitalization. And as Kevin mentioned, we don't do this because we like technology. Actually, we love technology, but that's not the reason why we use this. We use it to really make the factory even more profitable than it has been. And we see conventional measures such as lean and so on. They are just not enough in terms of productivity and also quality improvement or delivery performance. So digitalization really helps us to boost our factory to the next level. And what I find also personally very, very amazing is that speed that it's currently going on. So if you see the development over the last 50 years and you see what the big jump that we have made in the past 10 years, this is just amazing. So we implemented, I think we are scratching almost at the 100 robots in the factory. We have lots of artificial intelligence algorithms running directly in the factory. We have our complete shop floor in as a digital twin available and can see what happens on the shop floor. And this is just a speed where this technology evolves that for me, it's still fascinating how fast these topics go and develop.
And it's just getting faster and faster and faster. But if we stick with the factory and the origin, basically, I mean, it has gone through so many different changes. You know, adaptability is key here. And you would be speaking about a brownfield project, right? Maybe you could tell us a bit more about what brownfield refers to here.
Yeah. So basically, brownfield refers to a factory that is not newly built. Right. You have a lot of boundary conditions. You have existing machines, you have existing buildings, you have existing infrastructure, you have legacy technology, you have legacy infrastructure in terms of IT and all these kind of things. So this limits a bit of the degrees of freedom, how you can design your processes when you try to change. So you have the challenge in the brownfield environment that you have to deal with these existing circumstances or have to spend effort to change them. And this is something that is way more difficult than in a greenfield factory. So it's also a huge transformation effort of your processes, but also of the company and also how people are working.
Nice. Just thinking of us four here, we're in an age, I guess we're all brownfield projects, right? I mean, thinking about where we came from and now we had to adapt to digitalization and everything. But nevertheless, bringing this back to our case here, Siemens also has digital native plants, right? We're not only talking about brownfield projects.
Yes, for sure. So maybe also I can tell a bit about this project firsthand, since I have been in China a couple of years ago as a project manager, and I had the opportunity to build up what we call a digital native plant. So basically there we had the opportunity to really build on a greenfield. And building a greenfield is really a unique opportunity because all the boundary conditions that I talked about just before, in a greenfield, you don't have them. So you have the great opportunity, and if you want to utilize these degrees of freedom, if you build a new factory, to make it right in the first time and to make it perfect, because you have a lot of opportunities to change things compared to a brownfield.
Kevin, maybe you can add from your perspective.
You know, as Stefan says, and Siemens have done the greenfield sites. And to be quite honest, I do a lot of work in the energy industry. So if you're looking at hydrogen plants or battery factories, gigafactories, offshore wind, it's greenfield. And in some ways that's relatively easy because you have no legacy. But I think one of the things that stood out for me as well at Erlangen, and we mentioned it's a brownfield, and for the tech geeks out there, they go, well, how do you create a digital twin of the brownfield and all the new stuff? And they've combined that. You know, they've had the LiDAR scans, the point clouds of legacy equipment. They have the new equipment where they have all the digital twins in software before they start. They merge it all together. And I was there twice. I was there in July last year, and they showed me in a digital twin how they were going to change the production line. And when I was back there in February, the whole thing had changed with no downtime. And when I was chatting with Stefan there in February, he was telling me, yeah, well, if you're back in 2 months' time, we'll have changed it all again. So when you understand what it takes to kind of go, well, we have an entire automated system. Oh, by the way, we're going to rip it apart and reconfigure it because we want to make it better or make it more, optimize it more. We found a few places we can tweak things and make it go faster. And you can do that over a weekend. And then the customer goes, well, we have new products and we want this, and you go, oh, we can do that as well. That's what I'm talking about in terms of that adaptability. And if it's not digital end to end, you're going to struggle with that, right? So that to me is kind of where the rubber hits the road, for want of a better saying.
Yeah. Speaking of digital end to end, this is also what Magnus always likes to emphasize. What can you add to this?
When we've been there and you have people visiting the first time, the impression I get is that they're kind of blown away by the width, the breadth of the offering. You have literally everything you can dream of as an engineer, and also extremely competent people being able to talk about it in a way that everybody understands. So to me, it has everything. And also sometimes you can see how old technology is working with new technology. And that's also, I guess, a bit of a challenge in all of this. But essentially, it is a very cool place to be if you want to get inspired.
Now, Stefan, you were telling us before about some of the obstacles and some of the, challenges in regards to a brownfield project. What are the challenges these companies are encountering when they're trying to bring digitalization to the brownfield sites when they talk to you, Kevin?
There's a lot of data out there that people aren't using. So if you're a brownfield, my thing to most companies is that regardless of what you want to do, you got to get as much data from what you have already, and then incrementally see how can you use that data to find quick wins. If you want to go off and redesign the whole thing, fine. There's plenty of ways of doing that. You can simulate it and. But they have to invest in getting the data and empowering their people to take some risk, right? Otherwise, nothing's going to change.
And I think there are two more challenges. Sometimes you're overwhelmed because you can do so many things with the technology. So what we learned is that you need to focus where your biggest pain points are or your biggest opportunities are. And start with this. Then it's also you take along the people with you, because then you also get support, because this is the second main obstacle. Also in a brownfield, you have to have the right mindset to go for it. And if you tackle your big problems, you have the right mindset to try out new things, to change your existing processes. So my clear recommendation to all out there, what we have learned, we have went through the hard way. Start with your biggest pain points and just start, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
So since you've done that in Erlangen already, and we're talking about this true digital enterprise in Erlangen, what technologies did you employ there?
So basically, we started with the digital twin. And we don't use the digital twin only for the production. We also use it for the product design. And this was also for us, from manufacturing, a great opportunity to sit together on a virtual prototype together with our people from R&D who are defining the products, to make the products not only to fulfill our customer needs, but also to make them manufacturable in an easy and automated way.
Can you briefly touch on other technologies also?
Yeah, sure. Let me give you a very specific example how we use artificial intelligence in our factory. So we use now AI algorithms, for example, for our test systems. That means once in a while, such a test system says, okay, the product is not okay, although the product is okay. This happens in a lot of areas, in a lot of processes, in every factory around the world. And these so-called fake failures cause a lot of effort in the production. And now we can train AI algorithms that know exactly whether the product is okay or is not okay, and make the decision for us on the shop floor, and can make sure that we only deliver high quality products that have no defect, and reduce the effort in checking and repairing the products. And maybe another topic where we combine even the digital twin and artificial intelligence. You know, when you want to automate production systems or production processes, you always have the challenge. If you supply parts, they need to be provided in a very ordered manner in trays or something like this, so the robot can grab into and knows exactly the place where it's located. And when I was studying, this was sort of the holy grail for automation, that a robot can reach into a bin with unsorted parts. And now we have mastered exactly this challenge. So now we can provide the robot unsorted parts and he can pick into this bin. And we use AI for this. And how did we do this? We dropped virtual parts in a virtual box. We took virtual pictures, trained an AI algorithm with these virtual pictures. Right. And now the robot is capable of reaching into this box and grabbing these unsorted parts and assembling them.
How are these technologies that you just mentioned, you're talking about the digital twin, AI, the combination, automation, and so forth, how are these changing the sector altogether?
So Chris, let me give you two examples that I saw in Erlangen to kind of answer that. There's a lot of focus right now on bringing high-tech manufacturing back to Germany, back to Europe, to a high-wage area. And they're doing it way more profitably than they did with an outside supplier. And they started this by, obviously having incredible IP and patents for the power electronics, but then designing the entire thing in a digital twin. So they make all their own power electronics in the factory. And the second one, in terms of, we talk about a sustainable digital enterprise. And Stefan mentioned it. So I was there and I was chatting with Max, one of their engineers. And I was geeking out on how they got AI to train, to train the robot how to pick, not what to pick. And Stefan just mentioned it as well. And I think it's a key point. He said, well, we can pick unsorted parts. And what I mean by that is you take lots of parts and just throw them into a box in any willy-nilly order and figure something. And Max said to me, he said, we got rid of the plastic inserts. And I was like, what's a plastic insert? And he said, well, before each part had to be in a certain place in the tray. And we designed a plastic insert. So we put in the place in the right place. And actually, we designed the plastic insert. We'd send it to the supplier. Supplier had to put the parts they were giving us into the inserts. They'd come in trays. We take out the tray. And then when the robot was picking, the robot was kind of stupid. It kind of just went to a particular spot for each time and picked it up. So they changed with AI and they go, we can just throw them on the thing. So they don't have any plastic inserts anymore. Now, what does that mean from a sustainability point of view? You're not making any new plastic. You're not shipping the plastic inserts to the supplier. Supplier is shipping them back, so less space because they're all chucked into a big box. Yeah. You have less warehouse space. That's where sustainability kicks in. So this is where the game is changing.
Wow. Maybe we could still stick with the topic of sustainability. Stefan, tell us more about what exactly is becoming more sustainable.
So actually, we are addressing this topic from two angles. But let me start with the first one. So also from there, we started with what else? With data. We collected a lot of data where our main consumers of energy were. And then we tackled down where are the main consumers. And then we could identify very, very specific measures in order to significantly reduce our primary energy consumption. For us, it was mainly coming from the buildings, so from the heating, the cooling of our buildings. So we optimized the ventilation system and all these kind of things. And by these measures, we could significantly reduce our energy footprint. And there are a lot of other measures as well. And by identifying our big consumers of energy and then by deriving clear measures out of that, we could until now save over 50% of our primary energy usage.
Wow, that's a lot. So you're just talking about the processes here, but what about the products themselves?
I think there are also two sides, since we are producing products that run on electric motors. For sure, we have a lot of high tech going on where we improve our products. But on the other hand, once the product is produced, also we are currently able for a majority of our products to repair and even refurbish them. So we can give them a second life and extend the lifespan.
We're talking about all this technology like AI, digital twin, the automated shop floor, robots, AGVs, and so forth. But what about the people? Where do people play a role in all of this?
Yeah, Chris, the people play actually the most important role because they are the ones who, with their creativity, can combine the know-how about the processes, what needs to change, with the opportunities that we have with digitalization. And it's so important that we encourage them to try out new things, especially in the field of digitalization, that we also train them, that we make them digital savvy, that they know how to use the digital technologies, how to apply them, and also give them the confidence that they are able to change things in the processes. And I can really proudly say that we have a very, very innovative environment, especially also in Erlangen, where people exactly are doing this. They embrace this kind of new technologies, look where our biggest pain points are and try to implement them exactly. And I'm really happy that we have this kind of high level of competence. I think Kevin and Magnus, you have met some of these people that are working there. They are enthusiastic for our processes and they even more embrace these new technologies to really change our processes for the better.
Wow. Now you made it sound so enticing that I bet some people out there want to know, okay, how can I see this? I think it is open to visitors, right?
Yeah, I would say that we were happy to have people come in there visiting. So I think the call to action is to get in touch with your preferred Siemens person and make an arrangement with him or her, and then you sign up for a trip to Erlangen. I can tell you it is definitely worth it. And as Stefan said, as cool as the technology is, I mean, we haven't even touched upon the part manufacturing bits and pieces that are also been shown in this Digital Enterprise Experience Center. The people are truly amazing, extremely knowledgeable and inspiring. So it is definitely worth a visit. And Erlangen is actually also a pretty nice city, if I got to say.
And as Kevin said before, he's been there a couple of times. Don't be surprised if you visit it first time and then see some major changes when you visit it the second time. I suppose this will continue also in the future. Gentlemen, looking at the time, we're going to have to wrap up here, but a very big thank you for your contribution, for your time. I enjoyed this discussion very, very much. I hope our audience did also. Stay tuned for our next episode. And also for more information, you can visit our webpage, www.siemens.com/digital-enterprise-Erlangen. This is Talking Digital Industries. I'm Chris Brow and hope to see you again. No, hope to hear you again or hope to talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Take care.